Iriagare, Yijets, Paul, Duaxanazare, Yaikiwarne, not the Gosariagu.
Darren, Yujits, Horn, Duaxanazare, Yaikiwane, not the Gosiriagu.
I think that before the Seaway, there was a much closer relationship that we had to the river. I mean, it's our namesake, right? Kahnawake, meaning on the rapids. That was probably a much closer connection.
People enjoyed the river. The river was life for them. People fished on there. The women washed their clothes on there. The kids would swim on there. People traveled on there. I mean, it's always been part of our history.
Say that all of us are affected because we lost the knowledge of that type of culture. Like I said, there was a much stronger fishing culture that existed in this community before that, and as much as there's a lot of people in our community that like to fish and know about fishing, I don't think it's probably near the way it was when we lived next to the river. And even just our namesake being called Kahnawake was taken from us.
Well, it did affect me personally, but it affected my parents. Both of them were affected by it directly because my father had to move the family house from where they were. For my mother, there used to be a bay that came up almost directly behind her house. She said before the men would fish there, they would do bullhead fishing in the spring. When the Seaway came through, they wiped all that away. And the interesting thing was, they never talked about this. I mean, growing up as a kid, I didn't know too much about the Seaway. Nobody talked about it. I think it affected both my parents so much that they never mentioned anything about it. Their way of life was finished.
I can't say like an exact number, but like I mentioned, I could say that it was far less than they were offering. That they were offering non-natives. Non-natives were getting a lot more compensation than our people were going to get.
People who lost their land were given individual payments, but they didn't want to pay them what it was worth on the outside. And as a community, they were given, I think it was $4 million. Life, if they wanted to go there now, they would have to either cross the train bridge, swim across, which the kids did, or they would have to go all the way around by Cook St. Catherine.
The answer I used to get to those questions was, we did the best we could with what was available to us in a peaceful way.
They tried, but I mean, in 1955, it wasn't the same community. I mean, we were under more direct control of the government. The Indian agent was here, the RCMP was here. They didn't want to give the council any money to fight this in court. I mean, they're like, they would be giving money to fight themselves. And even if the people tried to stop it, they weren't going to stop it.
Great benefits after the Seaway. I mean, I'd say that everything suggests that it didn't really benefit us too much. It really, the only people who benefit from the Seaway are corporations. Maybe a couple of times in the summer. I can't even remember the last time I went out to the Flat Rocks. When I was a kid, it wasn't like we went there every weekend or anything, but it was a regular thing. It was a day in the life of the people who lived prior to the Seaway. They would spend their summer days there. So much of, like, if they were doing laundry at the Flat Rocks, it meant that it was a daily thing for them to be there. And all I see is benefits and happiness before the Seaway of our relationship to the river.
I mean, we lost access to the river.
Unless we found another community to start somewhere else that was close to a river. I mean, if you look at the locations of our communities historically, they were always next to some kind of river, some kind of waterway, for drinking water, for cleaning, for travel. It was always an important thing. So I only really see us becoming that close to another waterway if we started another community somewhere else. I think that our teachings always encourage us to have a close relationship to the natural world, including the different bodies of water. And I think we're always going to have people who are interested in fishing and that kind of thing. So I think there's always going to be a relationship, but I don't think it'll ever be as strong as it was before the Seaway.
Even they used to have Johnson's Beach. You know, Johnson's Beach is just where the canoe club would be. That's where Johnson's Beach was. It was almost like a defeat. It would be a defeat for the community. But on the other hand, I could tell you it was the last defeat